Welcome back to the channel. This is Diamond speaking. Hope you're having an amazing day, and if not, hope it's on the mend. And or whatever you learned today, I hope that it pours into tomorrow and all the beautiful things. Today we are going to be coloring in this sketch. I will be showing you the markers that I'm choosing along the way. I do start out with a lighter marker, I would say. It's not really like the mid-tone, but kind of like a little bit lighter than the mid-tone because I will come back in and darken up these areas. This is just to lay out the foundation for me. And yeah, when I do my sketches, I tend to do them with red. Um, just, just what I like. And yeah, so I won't talk throughout the entire tutorial, but I do want to share just a couple of tips throughout that you'll be able to hopefully incorporate into your practice. Right after I lay down that initial color, I like to go in for my darkest values. And I tend to lean towards reddish purple darks. Sometimes I do go with like a cobalt blue or Napoleon blue. It just depends. And I did feel like the sketch was a little wonky. Hopefully, the next sketch that I share with you guys, the portrait is a little bit better. Like I said in my previous videos, we're not looking for exact replicas because if we were, we'd just take a picture. So we can say this is a style choice, but something about that forehead, y'all, I don't know. Like it was giving massive and not in the good way. Like, an unintentional massive. And here I am going in with powder pink just to add a little bit of the shadows. I always make sure to leave out my highlights because while yes, I can add it back in with the jelly roll pen, on the larger areas, I just prefer to keep the color of the paper. Unless, of course, I'm working with a tan tone paper or a black paper or gray toned paper. And yeah, so, and even then, I guess I would. I'm like, if I'm just using graphite in order to fill in, then I would absolutely still leave out those whites. But especially when I'm using this kind of paper, which is more of a like a light tan. It's an interesting shade. I got this sketchbook from Ross a few months back, so I'm not quite sure what the paper is or whatever it is, but I do know that alcohol marker does bleed through, so I always make sure to put the divider in between. Um, but yeah, the colors still pick up really well on it, so I do like coloring in here. But for the most part, I do sketch and sketch primarily with color pencils. Here I am, like I said earlier, how I would come back and darken up some of those midtones. This is what I'm doing here, and I did go a little too dark with this one. But I will come back in with a lighter alcohol marker, and that will help to lift up the pigment and help for more of a seamless blend. For some reason, I always end up leaving out the nose because I know it is on a like a highlight plane, so to say, but I still like there are parts of it that are colored, and so I tend to forget. So here I am just going back in with that initial color, which I believe was barely beige that I used. And here, oh, I'm using the warm gray. I believe, is that what I do here? Okay, yeah. So this is when I discussed earlier of like using a lighter colored marker in order to kind of like blend everything out and to tone down any color that may be more saturated than you desire. Yeah, so just you can use a lighter color alcohol marker and it'll lift up that pigment. And I tend to use, how do I say this? So I do use skin tones primarily with my portraits, but I like to put in different colors that you wouldn't necessarily see within the skin. And I just think that makes for a more colorful portrait, and it adds like a little bit of life and vibrancy that I thoroughly enjoy. And because I used, I believe, wine red for my darkest values, I thought it would be a nice complement to use this pastel violet. And it is a little difficult to explain how I'm picking my colors, simply because it's like I'm in a flow state while I'm creating. And so I'm kind of just going with it. And yeah, so hopefully these tips do help and you are able to incorporate them into your practice and or you just enjoy watching as this portrait comes to life. I tend to do this throughout the process just to make sure that the colors are cohesive. A lot of my portraits, I like that you can see that they're made with markers, and so I tried not to make it completely blended, but I do like for it to all be on one accord, basically. It's always funny witnessing the hesitation marks because it's like, girl, just go ahead, put that marker down. Here I am using fluorescent orange, and ooh, I love using highlighters in my work. But here I am accenting the parts that are the highlights, and yeah, I just think it adds like a cool little flair to it. And if you were to put this into grayscale and see how the fluorescent orange pops up, it's very close to the whites of the zones that are highlighted. So it's just, although we see it as a pop of color, it still lends to color cohesion within the piece. So that's why I think it's really cool, and it also is just like, it's a nice little addition. Also, today's video, I cut it down very minimally. I believe I only cut out the parts where I was picking another marker, which was like seconds within each other. So this will be my longest video to date. If this is the kind of length that you guys prefer, I would absolutely love to get some feedback in the comment section below. It's weird at this stage in uploading to YouTube because I'm pretty much talking into the void, but as you guys, begin to come, maybe you could let a girl know. But yeah. And I'm using that same technique of lightening up areas and making it more cohesive with that pastel violet on the head wrap. And in the reference, which I guess I can include it here, okay? Which I don't know if you guys know this is me. Well, I guess you would have seen it on other videos if you've watched. But, anyways, this is me, and that's why I can really tell the forehead is off because I'm like, girl, that is not what your forehead look like. But it's fine. It's fine. You know, neither here nor there. Live and we learn. I guess this is just what universe wanted me to create on this day, and there we go. Oh, but that's what I was saying. In the original reference, the turtleneck that I'm wearing is black, but just applying a grayscale, you'll see that the value is the same. So I wanted to make it a little bit more colorful. And when I'm doing, oh, right there, I just added in some grays into the eyes because our eyes are not completely white. And I just like to use like a warm gray when I'm doing that part. I wanted to add a little bit more pink into the face. I do go in, and of course, a little piece of like pencil shaving got onto the piece, but I believe I blow it off so it doesn't get too distracting. Oh, there I go. And I wanted to add, oh, did I include a, see, I forgot to show you which marker I'm using. Let me do a little arrow. No, maybe it'll come. Okay, yeah, right there. So I used the coral pink for this part. I wanted to do just a little bit of blush, even though it's not really present in the reference. Um, I just thought it would look cute, so that's what I did. And then I blended it out with that fruit pink that I was using, and that helped to kind of like do a blurring effect of that edge, so it wasn't as sharp when I initially put it down on the paper. And I believe I'm using fruit pink again here because you want to make sure that you have it in more than just one place within your portrait so that it does lend to that cohesion I've been speaking of. Oh, and with alcohol marker portraits, I like to, I'm just like laying down the foundation because I do know that eventually I will come in with details. I am considering doing more just solely alcohol marker portraits um, as time progresses. But for now, I do find a lot of comfort in knowing that I'll be able to add up just at least a little additional information with the um, pencils. It reminds me a lot of painting with like flat brushes. So it is a fun practice in that. But yeah, for now, I'm like, ooh, I like the combination the most. I do think it would be a lot of fun though to just do alcohol markers. And there you saw me, or am I about to do it right now? Let me see. Oh, I will add like a lighter color because I darkened my top lip a little too much there. So I'm like, oh, let me just lighten it up a little bit. And I believe I go back over with color pencil later on um, to kind of like merge the colors together a little bit better because it ended up looking a little like splotchy. So and that is what I did. I do realize I say so yeah a lot. So not me doing it right then. But yeah, so I guess I'll begin to learn more of my catchphrases as I continue to do the voiceovers for these videos. And then I think the great thing about a reference is like, yeah, you know, it does give you an idea of what's going on in the piece. It's also just an opportunity to explore the pieces that you enjoy and what you would like to change, and or give yourself that permission to just switch things up if that's what you desire, which is what I did. Because if you noticed in the reference, I had on, I believe, a turquoise colored um, is that turquoise? I guess earring, and I switched it here because I just thought it would look better. And I did not capture the names of all of the color pencils that I used simply because, yeah, I was kind of just grabbing and going, and that's what happens when I get in that flow state. I am going to do a limited palette alcohols and color pencil portrait situation soon on the channel so that I can focus more on the portrait piece of it and not so much the coloring. And I do think it would be a little bit easier to just share all of those names at once instead of 50, 11 billion colors, which is what I tend to use. So, yeah. And I will hop in if there's anything else that I can think of. But I think that's pretty much it. All that I will continue to do throughout this session is fill in more of my darks, and I will add a couple of like highlights into the eyes, and I will actually give myself a proper hairline. I don't like to go all the way to the edge with my darker valued marker on my hair or any hair, so to say. And that's because of density within the hair. And like, even though I do have a very thick density, and when I do add the lines, you will see that everything is pretty like close together, I still like to make sure that there's a level of like scalp that is seen. And I think it tends to do better when there is a, oh my god, okay, we're shaking the desk again. I think that it tends to do better when there is spacing between the darkest value and when you lay down that additional detail. Oh, here I am using, I believe this is Peach by Prismacolor. And that is to kind of like blend it out a little bit better and not just make it um, just the purple lighting that I was using. It's almost like using a cone to blend when you're just using graphite. Yeah, and so the steps of these alcohol portraits tends to be a red underlined sketch, the base colors of my alcohol markers, a couple of accent colors, and then I will come in with the color pencil. And then I tend to come in with my blue Bic ballpoint pen at the end to really push my shadows. And then at the very end, I believe, is when I add my highlights. And sometimes that'll switch up, but for the most parts, that's how I complete my portraits. And here I am going in with that technique where I'm making sure to flick my wrist to mimic hair strokes. It's funny, my sister looked at my hair and said that I had an anime hairline. I was like, you may be onto something as I was doing this drawing. I was just like, as long as it's not like Shikamaru, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. I also feel like this reference was an interesting angle. So that was fun to play with. My goodness, just shaking the table. And I'm not sure if you can tell that color pencil is a, what do they call it? Crazy art. Um, Definitely one of the cheaper color pencils, but simply because I'm just creating in my sketchbook, I'm like, if I like the color, I'm gonna use it. Oh, and here I wanted to add a little bit of that orange because I remembered that I added it to my face and I thought it would just be nice in the hair as well. Yeah, I feel like me and my eyebrows were just fighting when I was making this, but yeah, so it goes. Let's see how long it takes me to notice this thing on my paper. Ooh, it just came off. I also think it's fun to add color pencil to the edge of the highlights. It makes them almost like pop a little bit more. And yeah, I like that for my style. I realized that I jutted out the chin just a little bit too much, so I went back in with a darker value just to emphasize that that's not where the chin is, and we could just pretend like that's a little extra color and flavor. Oh, and here I am with that handy dandy big ballpoint pen. It's funny, I currently have a custom portrait consultation client, and I just sent over her sketch, and she emphasized how I made sure to include her molds slash beauty marks. And I'm like, girl, because I know anytime I don't have beauty marks on drawings of myself, or when I used to model back in the day, there would be different makeup artists that would cover up my beauty marks, and it never felt like it looked like me. I'm like, I don't know who that person is. So I always make sure to include those on my piece if I see them visible. And speaking of those custom portraits, I do have some openings available. And if that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely check it out on my website. I leave everything in the description box below. It starts off with a booking on the site, which is $15. And that's just to have a discovery call with me, which will last about 15 minutes. We will discuss who will be in the portrait, what style of portrait you would like, what your budget is, and what the timeline is. And I do allow for up to two people within the portraits. I just um, find it better to limit it to that for now. And yeah, so I do have some openings, and if that's something that you're interested in, I will leave that information in the description box below. I also offer prints of my work, and that will also be in the description box. And last but not least is my mail club, and I send out a letter, a 4x6 print, a 2x2 die cut sticker and a keepsake, and that is only $10 a month. So if that is something that you're interested in, definitely check out that description box below. I feel like I didn't really have like much to chat about today. I think as we continue to do these videos, like I said, we will have a maybe like a Q&A ongoing kind of thing, so that there is more to chat about. But for now, I'm just like, hey, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. This is one of my favorite colors that I like to add just for different accents within the piece. I like to think of it as like a wafting of the color. So that while, yes, you can see it, it's not emphasized within the piece. And then these color pencils, I actually got them from Michael's quite a while back. But the pigment is really, really nice. If you guys have any suggestions for things you would like to see or concepts that you would like to witness be explored, I'm all for it. Let me know in the comment section below. And here I am using, I believe it's a fluorescent yellow. Just think your typical yellow highlighter, just to add a little background to the portrait. Oh, I also wanted to go atop of the eyes to make sure that I emphasize the darker parts of the pupil. And here I am with my jelly roll to do those highlights at the end. And I'm telling you, something about adding that highlight to the eye just brings the whole portrait to life. Oh, what you saw me doing there was kind of like blending it out with my finger because I don't want that particular piece to be the brightest white. So, yeah. I think it was at this point that I realized, oh, yeah, this forehead is just really, really not that, because I know I have a 3 head, and the way my hairline is like basically at the tops of my eyebrows, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, this is kind of a little too far back, but so it goes. And here I go trying to fix these eyebrows yet again. I'm like, maybe if I push the value a little bit darker, it'll actually resemble my eyebrow, but. I'm just going to erase some of the red markings from the original sketch. And of course, I have to put it all on the table. I wanted to add a little bit of the ribbing that was visible within the sweater to really show the turtleneck. I also think this has just been a really fun process so far of being able to witness how my drawings come to life. And this drawing, well, not including the sketch, took me roughly, I would say, about 50 minutes. It's like, oh, cool. Just shaking the table. Yeah, I just, my goodness. I realized here that I didn't fully get the shadow, so I wanted to add a little bit more of that pastel violet. I realized that I pushed that shadow a little bit too far, so I went back in with a peach and then a light peach to really blend out that section. And then I wanted to add a little bit of this blue to the shadows because I added it to my hair. And then all I will do at the end is add a couple of more details with my ballpoint pen, just to give it a little additional flair to the background. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you like this style of video, please don't forget to leave that in the comment section below. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I do hope that you have had an amazing day. And even if you haven't, I hope that whatever you have gained from the day prepares you for this next part of your journey. And that is all for now. Uh, yeah, this has been a blast. Peace.